Before we get into this video, I'd like you all to acknowledge that psychiatry is the most dominant form of eugenics that we have in society. From the first picture, it continues from page 145, where they say, Laughlin sent a memorandum outlining the sort of first-hand field material he would need for his eugenic analysis. He asked Strode for information on Carrie and her siblings, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, children, nephews, and nieces, as well as any consorts who have married into this stock, and who are the parents of any of the blood kin above mentioned. For each of these, he wanted to know about parents' physical and mental development, literacy and mental test records, and a final quality, social status, with particular reference to the question of whether the individual has constituted a debit or credit to the social order. Now keep in mind, the social order is an artificial order made by people who naturally were inferior, who had to migrate away from the centers of civilization, North Africa and the Mediterranean, or the Middle East, okay? Greece, Egypt, Sumer, Saudi Arabia, these were the centers of civilization of the ancient world. The northern Europeans were barbarians. Look at the history of Rome. Even Rome was centered closer to southern Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. So it was the people who historically were the barbarians who are claiming that the southern Europeans, the Semitics, and the blacks are inferior, when actually, naturally, it was the other way around. So then they make this system, just like in psychiatry, where they want to see your family history. In psychiatry, psychiatrists ask you, does anyone in your family have a mental illness? So they're looking at your family history to help determine whether they should give you these eugenic pills. And there's going to be a lot of people who will do a lot to try to play that out. Play that off. Play that statement out as well. So then we go on to page 152. There were, Laughlin said, two ways of doing this. Segregating them in an institution where they would be prevented from having intercourse, and eugenic sterilization. Now, I'm going to insinuate and possibly postulate that when you segregate people by sending them to the psych ward, reform school, boot camp, or any mental hospital, asylum, or institution, you have segregated them politically, mentally, and psychologically from the rest of the population. And I see in my case how any attractive women I talk to are far away, and they make sure I will never see them. Any women that I would have sex with, are the type to get an abortion, or they have their tubes tied. Okay? And in my particular case, they know that I don't settle, so they try to hook me up with unattractive women to waste my time and to try to put me beneath them. That also goes back to the social order. Now please watch this video through. There's good stuff all the way through it. Thank you.
This video is called Calm Down, Settle Down, and Martial Arts Principles. At the end, I will also play you a clip that I've played before, but louder, of my mom verifying there's gassing. I will show you screenshots of people I've been approaching to give me an opinion about the fuming in my car. And just the fact that I do these things shows the sanity and the logic in the way I do things. Systematically, I prove what is going on. Instead of going off on a tangent, ranting and raving in the middle of the street, very unkempt and very insane. That's the difference. For those of you who walk the streets, who actually live in reality, you know the difference between somebody who is ranting and raving about something that doesn't make sense, and somebody in a suit with 10,000 valid sources and 4,000 videos, as well as a college degree. Someone who's very well spoken, cogent, coherent, and concise when the topic calls for it. With that being said, have you ever heard the term, settle down? You should make a woman out of her and settle down. I'm going to buy a ranch in, Kentucky and settle down. Have you ever heard these things? Well, I assure you, they are very real and they are said all the time. Because even the things that we say prove my point about environmental factors and state of mind. What is the state of mind of a gladiator in ancient Rome versus the state of mind of a senator during a meeting? What is the state of mind of a young man getting drunk, going out partying with his friends, versus the state of mind of an older man with a family and responsibilities? You see, there's a thin line between calming down and settling down. So the fact that I do not have children or a wife, the fact that I am a great martial artist with a $3,000 challenge, shows you definitively that I have no reason to settle down or calm down. I have every reason in the world to behave the way a normal human being would in my situation. I mean, let's compare the way I behave to boxers, Mike Tyson and the like, UFC fighters, Rampage Jackson, and the like. So when you look at what is normal human behavior for a warrior, someone with a warrior personality, someone with a warrior lifestyle, someone who has no reason to settle down. Am I going to, my job as a manager at a restaurant acting like a warrior? Am I the speaker of the White House, the White House speaker acting like a warrior? Or am I a warrior who's the top martial artist in America acting like a warrior? And speaking of that, I want you all to think about this. If somebody said, I can run a mile in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and you knew it was true, you would be impressed. Here's a video of it. If another man said, well, I'm just as good as him because I can run the 100-yard dash in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, you would think they're fucking insane. So why then wouldn't you apply the same scale to my 10 hits in 1 second? I have to cover a longer range with my long arms than these shorter guys do. And I still manage 10 hits in 1 second. Also, one last thing I want to bring up is the way I look. Before this video, I did the testing thing. For some reason, one of my hairs kind of stood out since then. But I have a lot to do, and I'm going to put that in the end as well, the screenshot of that. I have to get ready, make the video. I have to go down the road to upload the video. And in many cases, I am being cyber attacked when I do. In fact, I already have that screenshot in the last video of being cyber attacked. Okay, and it says, YouTube not available or could not upload video. Can you imagine having to drive down the road to upload a video because they are cyber attacking your computer and YouTube is not doing anything about it? They've created the platform that allows them to do so. So you have to drive down the road. It's the same thing with Facebook. I've talked to many software engineers, PhDs, people with more experience in the field than I have. And they said the same thing. Yes, you see, the problem is that Facebook doesn't have the proper security measures in place. And that allows for them to launch an attack on your phone or computer. It's like a beachfront that allows the enemy to land and launch an attack instead of them, building a wall or putting the proper security measures and countermeasures in place. So there's nothing I can do about that because the people who own these sites aren't doing anything about that. He said, well, you can contact the site manager, contact their staff. I have. It does nothing. They're well aware of that. In fact, people who are part of the Jewish privileged class, Zuckerberg, for instance, own Facebook. The NSA and Google, together own YouTube. And they allow YouTube staff to operate under their auspices and control. So you see, these people have no point. I have many people that agree that I am functional. Watch the video 2 videos ago. I really urge you. It's a very good video. It's about 33 minutes long. I have tons of proofs of trolls. They're saying racist things. Some of them are threatening me. Some of them want me to be paranoid and angry. And when you consider all that I've been through, including the covert drugging, I have behaved in a very admirable fashion. I've conducted myself as a true gentleman compared to the circumstances, once one considers the circumstances of the situation. Here we are, Friday, and the experiment ends Monday. No angry outbursts. I hardly raised my voice at all. And I'm talking about some of the most controversial subjects, the most emotional subjects known to man, where emotions run high. People cry and scream, especially when they've lost family, as I have, to these things. I lost 2 family members in the late 60s, during my parents' lifetime, during the Biafran Civil War. When I was talking about triggers, okay, I talked about the anniversary of a loss at being a trigger. I went to the psych ward 2 different times on what I call Chike Day. In late February, Black History Month, the day that he died. In the last, 4 years? 5 years? In the last 5 years. 2 years out of those 5 years, which is about two of 3 or 2 of 4, I can't remember which it was, times I've been to the psych ward for some petty shit, arguing with my parents. Cops come, they take me there because I'm a political dissident, they don't like me, I make videos about them. 2 of those times have been on Chike Day, which on record, according to the psychologists, Psych Central, Mental Health, Not Net, and other psychologists run, websites, they're triggers for everybody. I'm sure you've all seen movies and have family members who get very sad, where you see people getting very sad, and they lock themselves in their room or play certain music on the anniversary of someone's death. Some people pour out liquor on the anniversary of someone's death. I'm sorry for all the noise. It could just be dickheads. It could also be these people are aware that I'm making this video and they're trying to provoke me because they know I've managed to avoid covert drugging. I've been eating junk food and sandwiches, which I've ran out of now, for the last several days. I think since Tuesday. Since Tuesday, I ate Subway sandwich, and then I ate sandwiches later that day. Then there was Wednesday, and it was Thursday, and that was Friday. I'm planning to try to stay home here. Maybe like one little thin slice of pastrami, a bunch of bread, and some, a small bag, what's left of a bag of pretzels. Because I'm trying to make this behavior experiment work while maintaining the minimum amount of food in my system. So, once I get this far into the video, as I did with the first video and the last video of this behavior experiment series, I don't want to do it over again. This is an experiment. The suit is to make me feel a certain way, to prove a point that when people are in a certain situation, when people feel the need to behave, and they can behave, then there's nothing wrong with them. That's what's called functioning in our society. If I can function in society, I don't need drugs to help me function. When I have people saying I can function, when I have over a dozen people in my interview list saying that there's nothing wrong with me, they share my opinion that there's nothing wrong with me, when my opinion is the only one that should really matter. Psychiatric treatment should be voluntary to improve one's life, and it's really an abysmal, dire situation where They put profit over patients, just like Kaiser Hospital. Just Google Kaiser Hospital putting profit over patients. And keep in mind that they have psychiatric services as well. And I know you don't think they're the only one. Google lawsuits. Google lawsuits. I'll put some in the comments. Pfizer lawsuits, Johnson & Johnson. Billions and billions of dollars of lawsuits settled. Off-label marketing. Side effects. Just countless lawsuits of things that these people are pushing the drug for things that they haven't even proven that they work for. And they're getting doctors to prescribe them to people for that. The whole system's broken. No one's stopping them. The FDA or any government regulatory entities are not doing their job. The pharmaceutical companies aren't not stopping their own greed. The doctors aren't putting them in check. They're working with them. The whole system is broken. Nobody should be forced medicated in the first place, much less in a broken system as a result of bureaucratic bullshit, government corruption, and immorality and Nazi contamination in the government and in the mental health sector, especially. After World War II, after FDR, stopped being president in 1945, I'm not saying he was a good president, but things really seemed to go downhill after that. You had Project Paperclip, you had MK Ultra and MK Search and all that stuff. And then you had the Nuremberg Code, right? They made a code, that says you can't have non-consensual experimentation because the Nazis were doing it. And what did America do? They brought 1,600 plus Nazis over. Excuse me. They've been gassing me. They brought, and I'm going to prove that at the end of this video. They brought 1,600 plus Nazis over, and they started doing non-consensual experimentations on people from 1950 to the late 1970s. Of course, they claim it ended in 1973 or something like that, that all the records went black. But all the top experts, Colin Ross, the guy they had on RT, and every expert I come across on the subject says, yes, the CIA is still doing non-consensual experimentation. They're still covertly drugging people with the next generation of drugs. In fact, in all of my research into this, I have never come across a single person that says otherwise. In fact, I don't think I haven't even come across any government official that says otherwise, And here I am, 45 minutes away from the center of MK Ultra, having been at La Selva in Palo Alto, right down the street from Stanford, where the Palo Alto prison experiment took place, or the Zimbardo experiment, which related to Nazi Germany, just like the Milgram experiment, trying to understand how the Nazis were able to do what they do, which has applications in mind control. Once you understand that, then you can apply it to your own country. Also look up Smedley Butler. Smedley Butler, one of the people I've interviewed, the brilliant female that I interviewed, she's related to Smedley Butler. And he actually proved that there was a conspiracy with the fascists and the Jews trying to overthrow the government and install a fascist government in America. And he was warning the president about that. I believe he was warning FDR in 1933 or something like that. Okay, I'll put it in the comments. Well, I'm almost out of time now. It proves what I've been saying for a long time now, that these people work together. And they ridiculed him at first. Everyone denied it. Then the newspapers blew it wide open, Time and New York Times. Thank you.
So I contacted two Hispanic people, one that I've known for a couple years, and the other who claims to be a TI on Facebook. The first from the East Bay. The second lives in San Jose. That I offered them $20, just to, breathe in my car and to go on record with their honest opinion about it. The first one I offered to pay for their room in San Jose, Both of them declined. All right, but I have this priceless proof right here.
My chest too at your room. I think you should borrow Oakley's room. Let me see what Oakley's room is. Oakley's room's a lot better. Maybe you should just move out and take the other room. And keep that room for, I don't know, but don't sleep in there, for God's sakes. Because that room's just horrible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something wrong with it. I don't know what it could be if I can't feel it, but it could be some gold hidden under, hidden somewhere. Could be, I don't know. Because whatever it is, it's not smelly.
What I was saying earlier about Smedley Butler. A final report by a special House of Representatives committee confirmed some of Butler's testimony. And so then the newspapers looked into it more, they delved into some more, and they saw beyond any doubt that this is true. And then another high-ranking official confirmed it. And keep in mind, Smedley Butler is one of the most decorated Marines in U.S. history. And at the time, he was the most decorated Marine in U.S. history. Okay? So the people with honor, he actually won the Medal of Honor, two times, and the Brevet Medal. Okay? The people with honor, they blew this thing wide open. And all the liars and cowards were trying to cover it up. It's important to note. Thank you.